Pretty girls love pigeons. So goes the adage. But for 14-year-old Alina, it is more than a mere passion. An avid pigeon fancier, she is one among the hundreds of pigeon keepers across India who prepare the birds for different racing competitions. To be a pigeon fancier is not easy. The final year schoolgirl must test her pigeons routinely, keep them watered and fed nutritious meals regularly. There is also much groundwork to prepare the birds for the aerial races. But a few factors make Alina stand out from the rest of the pigeon fanciers. A game inherited from the Europeans who occupied India from the 18th to mid-20th century. Alina is homeless. Alina has had no home of her own since 2017, when Cyclone Oki wrecked life in the coastal areas of the Kerala capital, Thiruvananthapuram, and its surroundings. Alina and her family, her parents and 2 young brothers, live in a rehabilitation camp at Government Upper Primary School in Valiyathura, a coastal village hardly 5 kilometers away from the state secretariat. Alina's pigeons too are victims of the climate crisis aggravated by human factors. Like Alina, they are also homeless. Surging sea waters of climate change and the human factors which aggravate it usurped Alina's home in 2017. The waters still refuse to retreat, and now the coastal region is getting fully destroyed. We could blame climate change, but many human factors aggravate them. And the primary reason is quite evident in the case of the Thiruvananthapuram coast, but most people stay silent.
To stop the construction of this port, to let the beach be as it is, move the people so that they can live safely, and the sea, probably after 15 years, the shoreline will come back again. This has been proven in other areas. And if this can be done, this is the only way to get back the shoreline and stop the continuous erosion.
What is happening in a particular village in Valiyathura is that nearly 6 rows of house is already damaged, very much damaged, and around 300 fisherfolk families become homeless, and they have been living in a camp in a very pathetic situation.
Though they live close to the sea, Alina's fishing worker father has no direct access to the sea as the shore has been lost, replaced with a massive granite sea wall. His income has depleted because of the difficulty in accessing the sea. Now he has to support not just the 5-member family, but Alina's 40 pigeons as well.
ഞങ്ങളുടെ വീട് നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടത് ഓടി കാറ്റിലാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതിനുശേഷമാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങോട്ടോട്ട് വന്നത്. ഇവിടെ വന്നപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങളുടെ വീട്ടിലെ 5 പ്രാവിനെ കൊണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അത് കണ്ടപ്പോഴാണ് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് അച്ഛൻ മുമ്പ് പ്രാവ് വളർത്തി ശീലമുള്ളതുകൊണ്ടാണ് അച്ഛൻ കണ്ടപ്പോൾ അത് പെട്ടെന്ന് എടുത്തത്. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ കൊണ്ടുവന്നിട്ടപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളെടുത്ത് അത് മുട്ടയിട്ട് കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളെ വിളിച്ച് അതിൻ്റെ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളെടുത്ത് അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ പ്രാവിന് ഇത്. അപ്പോൾ ഈ 2 കൂടി ഫുള്ളായതിനു ശേഷം ഇപ്പോൾ പ്രാവിൻ്റെ തലയില വന്നപ്പോൾ ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഉള്ള പ്രാവ് തന്നെ കുറച്ച് കൊടുത്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്.
Alina shares the difficulties of living and surviving in a school-turned-rehabilitation camp. How will she care for her birds? And what about her education and future? Alina and her brothers have to access online classes with a single small cell phone. The family has lost its house, livelihood, and everything that makes life beautiful.
ഒന്നാമത്തെ ആർബർ വന്നുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇവിടെ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് വീടുകൾ നഷ്ടപ്പെടാൻ കാരണം. നമുക്ക് കടൽ കയറി വെള്ളം കയറി വീടുകൾ നഷ്ടപ്പെടാനായിട്ടും അഥവാ നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ട് നമ്മുടെ സാധനങ്ങൾ വയ്ക്കാനായിട്ട് പറ്റത്തില്ല. നമ്മൾ കൊണ്ട് അവിടെ നമ്മുടെ സാധനങ്ങൾ വെച്ച് അവിടെ പണിയാനായിട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അവരാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അവരുടേതായ ഒരു സമയം പറയുന്നത്, നമുക്കൊരു സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യമില്ല അവർക്ക്. അവർ പറയുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾ ജീവിക്കണം. അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്.
Kerala has a long coastline of 590 kilometers and it is one of the most densely populated in the entire world. In Thiruvananthapuram, the coastal area that starts at Idava and winds up at Poriyur stretches for 79.3 kilometers. Here, the population density worsens the vulnerability of coastal communities during natural disasters like tsunamis or cyclones. Welcome to Shanghumugham beach, close to Thiruvananthapuram city. It was once the most promising of tourist spots. The main road that links the city's domestic airport with the world outside passes along this beach. Now, no tourists visit Shanghumugham. The road connecting the airport with the world outside is under constant threat of sea erosion. For lack of an alternative, air travelers had to walk to the airport through Shanghumugham carrying heavy luggage. While the state government has recently completed works of an elevated road with a diaphragm wall protection to connect with the airport, the sea continually presses inland in a combination of climate-related and man-made factors. The new elevated road is robust enough to survive the mighty waves, they say. But cracks have started appearing in the road. Until recently, the sculpture of a reclining Jalakanyaga or mermaid by the noted sculptor Kanai Kunyaraman attracted visitors to Shanghumugham beach. But the city has lost its pride as a tourist spot forever. The many damaged buildings and ruins bear mute witness to the bygone, rich past of Shanghumugham. In the adjoining fishing villages of Kovalam, Vizhinjam, Veli, Valiyadura, Poondura, Vettugad, Kannandura, Bhimapalli and Kochutopu, hundreds of families of the workers of the fishing community are now staying in relief camps as the sea has devoured their houses. Despite the much hyped reopening of schools and colleges everywhere, local schools and community centers in these localities still run as relief camps. As the rainy season prolongs and sea erosion heightens, more fish worker families are expected to land up in the camps in the coming months.
The country crafts, which are using the OBMs, they will not be able to control their crafts with the new surges and all that as a result of this new breakwater. Last year 4 people died in that surge, and last year the construction was much less than what we see this year. So this year there will be more, the people will be at more risk this year, and we don't know what number of accidents will take place there. But I feel very sorry bad for the fishermen, those in Vizhinjam as well as those coming from villages like Poondura and Valiyadura, who all the way go to Vizhinjam to continue in the fishing. And that is going to be very dangerous this year also.
According to A.J. Vijayan, a local resident and former researcher with the International Ocean Institute, coastal erosion in the Thiruvananthapuram region started in the 1970s. when a minor breakwater was constructed for the Vizhinjam fishing harbour. However, the encroachment by the sea has accelerated alarmingly after the construction began in 2015 on Thiruvananthapuram's much touted Vizhinjam International Deepwater Multipurpose Seaport. The rupees 7,525 crore seaport is being built in a public-private partnership between the Kerala government and the Adani Vizhinjam Port Private Limited, a subsidiary of the Ahmedabad-based Adani Group's Adani Ports and SEZ Limited, which won a bid for the project 5 years ago. Initially slated for completion in 2018, the project has been plagued by delays but promises to be India's deepest port, capable of handling 80% of the country's transshipment cargo.
Kerala is one example, clear example, how we making use of the public money, how you promote a corporate to grow. And it is not a level playing field. No other private investors are getting such benefits.
The political leadership in Kerala, be it left, right or centre, believes that the port would accelerate the overall financial growth of southern Kerala. But fishing workers, environmental experts and civil society movements foresee it as a vast environmental disaster in the making. Apart from financial aid, the Kerala government has contributed 360 acres of land to the project and permitted Adani to reclaim 130 acres from the sea. But experts are warning that the upcoming seaport and the construction of its breakwater would further intensify the ongoing large-scale coastal erosion, and ultimately more than 36 fishing villages would be wiped out. The experts we contacted confirm that the coastal erosion in the Vizhinjam Shanghumugham region will worsen in the coming years, even posing challenges to the airport and several establishments of the Indian Space Research Organisation in Veli and adjacent Thumba. They allege that neither the environmental nor livelihood impacts of the project have been assessed sufficiently or accurately. Experts say the port is irresponsibly sited in the erosion-prone coast of Thiruvananthapuram. Studies indicate that the coastline is not braced to subsume the potential impacts from the construction and operation of the Vizhinjam port.
Welcome to Kovalam, the first coastal village in Kerala to find a spot on the global tourism map. Hardly 5 kilometers from Adani-occupied Vizhinjam, its beaches were the safest across the country for surfing and other beach activities. A favorite haunt of tourists from the 1930s, now it has many signboards warning people against entering the sea for bathing and recreation. Tourists return from Kovalam disgruntled and disappointed.
How did Kovalam lose its beach? Why are all other beaches north of Adani Port in Vizhinjam facing destruction? Why are more and more fishing worker families landing in rehabilitation camps? These are some questions the coastal community wishes to ask. But the corporate world outside hushes up their voices. The so-called notions of development prompt the wealthy and influential opinion makers to eulogize Adani and other encroachers, ignoring vulnerable coastal communities and their bitter struggles for survival. See the displaced coastal people of Kerala. People were forced to live in warehouses. People are compelled to convert school rooms into bedrooms. The women who find it difficult to even change their clothes.
തമ്പാനൂര് കിടക്കുന്ന പിച്ചക്കാറുകളെ പോലെയാണ് നമ്മളിവിടെ കിടക്കുന്നത്. കേട്ടോ, തിരിഞ്ഞു നോക്കാനേ ആയിരിക്കില്ല. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ജീവിതമാണ്.
ഹോട്ടലിൽ പോയിട്ട് ഇങ്ങോട്ട് തിരിച്ചു വരുമ്പോൾ ഇവരുടെ അവിടെ നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ തുണിയല്ല ഈ പിന്നെ
എത്രയും നിറഞ്ഞ് ഇതിനകത്ത് ഈ കാക്കയും അടിച്ച് ഈ പൊടിയും അടിച്ച് ഈച്ചയും അടിച്ച് ഉറക്കങ്ങളില്ലാതെ
മണ്ണാത്തികൾ തുണിയടിയിട്ട് കിടക്കുന്നത് പോലെ കിടക്കുന്നു ഇവിടെ ഇല്ല.
എത്രയും നിറഞ്ഞതിനകത്ത് കിടക്കും. ഗവൺമെന്റിന് ഒരു മനസ്സിന് ഒരു
വലിയ ശ്വാസമുട്ടിൽ കിടന്ന് നീരാടുന്നു.
The families who lack privacy have to share a school room with 2 or more families. The children who lost their classrooms. The fishing workers who lost direct access to the sea from their localities. The fishing workers who lost their traditional rights to dry fishing nets on their surrounding beaches. The guides who no longer accompany tourists. The small-scale traders who eked out a living by serving tourists. Fishing families in Thiruvananthapuram have struggled with the impact of coastal erosion for years. Many were forced to take refuge in relief camps and relatives' homes when their homes were destroyed. Even now, hundreds continue to suffer without homes, with no end in sight to their hardships. Rehabilitation has remained a significant challenge for these families, as many cannot find land within the 10 lakh rupees fund provided by the government.
ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് അവരുടെ സാമ്പത്തിക സ്വത്തൊന്നും വേണ്ട. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഭവനങ്ങൾ മാത്രം തന്നാണ്. ഭവനം തന്നില്ലെങ്കിലും കുഴപ്പമില്ല. അവർ വിശാലമായിട്ട് നിറയെ കല്ലടക്കി ഞങ്ങളെ ഈ 4 വർഷം കൊണ്ട് കിടന്ന് അനുഭവിക്കുന്നു. ഭർത്താക്കന്മാരില്ലാത്ത 7-8 സ്ത്രീകളുണ്ട് ഇവിടെ. ഇത്രയ്ക്ക് മറ്റേറെ കഷ്ടപ്പെടാൻ കൊച്ചു കുട്ടികൾ.
Now government is offering a package of 10 lakhs of rupees to build a house. How can people build a house with 10 lakhs? Where will they acquire the land? If government does not acquire land, the people cannot build this house.
Moreover, moving away from the sea, their source of livelihood for generations, is not an option.
സമയം വൈകുന്നേരം 6 മണി. എൻ്റെ പ്രിയപുത്രനെ നൽകുവാൻ തക്കവിധം ഞാൻ നിന്നെ അത്രമാത്രം സ്നേഹിച്ചു. യോഹന്നാൻ 3-ാം അധ്യായം 16-ാം വാക്യം.
This is St. Andrew's Beach, north of Tumba in Thiruvananthapuram, the lone surviving beach in the district. Note the vastness of the shore. If seeing is believing, St. Andrew's is a warning point. Thiruvananthapuram beaches, including Shanghumugham and Kovalam, were more scenic than St. Andrew's in the past. They were as vast as this place.
Now, subsequently in the last 5 years, as the pier has been expanding and the dredging has started, now you see every year the coast being gradually eroded. Not gradually, drastically eroded. So now suddenly people have woken up. Since the last 2 or 3 years, suddenly people have woken up. But government still does not give in to the fact that this is a result of this kind of development, because there's money invested in and there is a lot of political mileage and that baggage that has accumulated there.
The Coastal Regulation Zone Notification of 2011 prevents the construction of ports in coastal areas prone to high erosion. Now, only 800 meters of the 3.1 kilometer breakwater of the Adani port has been finished. No one can imagine the horrific situation once the whole construction work gets completed. Both Adani Port and the Kerala government are vehemently denying charges of coastal erosion and ecological destruction. The compliance report of the seaport project for October 2019, March 2020, issued by Adani Ports in consultation with the Kerala government, states that there is no shoreline degradation in the area as projected by those who oppose the project. However, these visuals can expose the hollowness of such a claim. Hardly 4 years have gone by since Kerala's then Fisheries Minister J. Mersikutty Amma acknowledged that construction of the breakwater for the ports has led to high tides and erosion of the Thiruvananthapuram coast. This is what the experts are also warning. Coastal communities confirm this threat.
നമുക്ക് പരിചിതമായ നമ്മുടെ ഒരുപാട് സുഹൃത്തുക്കളും ബന്ധുക്കളും ഒക്കെയുള്ള നമ്മുടെ ഈ തീരദേശ ഗ്രാമങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ കടപ്പുറം നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. പൊഴിയൂരത്തേക്ക് അവസ്ഥ വളരെ ഭീകരമാണ്. അദാനി നിർമ്മിക്കുന്ന അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര തുറമുഖത്തിനായാലും ശരി, കടലിൽ കല്ലിട്ടുകൊണ്ട് കടലിന്റെ സ്വാഭാവികമായ തിരയുടെയൊക്കെ ചലനത്തെ തടസ്സപ്പെടുത്തുന്ന കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ് വരുന്നതോടുകൂടി അത് ആത്യന്തികമായി ഈ കടലിനോട് ചേർന്ന് കിടക്കുന്ന അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കടലിനടുത്ത് താമസിക്കുന്ന മനുഷ്യരുടെ ജീവിതത്തെ തന്നെയാണ് കാര്യമായി ബാധിക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്.
For the Vizhinjam port, of the total project cost of rupees 7,525 crore, Adani's investment is meager. The union government has agreed to provide rupees 1,635 crore as a viability gap fund, and it is now the responsibility of the state government to pay the rest of the huge expenditure to Adani. As per the agreement, Adani will operate the port for 40 years, extendable by 20 more years, while the state government will get a portion of the revenue from the port only after 15 years since completion. When the project was launched by the former UDF government in Kerala, led by Oomen Chandi, in alliance with Adani Group in 2015, opposition CPIM had alleged the project involved corruption worth rupees 6,000 crore. However, after coming to power in 2016, the party changed its stand. Meanwhile, a Comptroller and Auditor General report of 2017 found several inaccuracies in the project and observed that at the end of the concession period of 40 years, the project would cause a substantial loss of rupees 5,608 crore. The CAG had also found that the total project cost compared to similar ports in other states was highly unreasonable. The project has already deposited 6 lakh tons of granite into the sea to construct the port, and most of it came from sensitive portions of the Western Ghats. It will require 1 crore tons of granite to complete the remaining work. Isn't this wasteful use of substantial public funds? How can the Adani port at Vizhinjam destroy Muthalapozhi fishing harbour, located about 80 kilometers away? This doubt may seem absurd even, but the Muthalapozhi too is suffering from sea erosion and high waves. Over 60 fishing workers have been killed in accidents involving boats. The faulty construction of the fishing harbour there was the major reason for the deaths. But the crisis there aggravated further when Adani Group wanted the wharf at Muthalapozhi for loading rocks for the construction of the breakwater at Vizhinjam. The faulty design of the breakwater and the failure of Adani to remove rocks in the harbour channel bed are now cited as one of the reasons for the recurring accidents in the harbour mouth at Muthalapozhi.
If some corporate powers want these areas to be their area of profit making, then nothing can be done by the common people who depend on these natural resources. So we need to take it very seriously. This is a matter of customary right, first of all. For centuries, these people have been dependent on fishing. You cannot find other alternative livelihood all of a sudden for thousands of people. It is almost impossible. In fact, that is the primary duty of the government, to make sure that these people have their livelihoods protected. They don't want to be beggars. In fact, the governments are making these people beggars. Profit making institutions are coming in and then they are depriving the fishers of their livelihood. In such a scenario, the welfare measures of this scale will never be useful. Also, it's going to affect the esteem of the people, the dignity of the people, their self-determination. These coasts have been their sustainability, their source of sustainability. These fishing beds have been their source of sustainability. You destroy them for the sake of, you call higher purpose, national development, and in that kind of a trajectory, you are in a way excluding the people from their traditional setup.
The Adani port is coming up just 250 meters south of the ever-busy Vizhinjam fishing harbour. Both the fishing industry and the marine biodiversity of the region have already been adversely affected. The situation will turn even murkier by the time the construction of the breakwater and quay walls for the port is completed. Experts affirm that the construction poses a grave threat to the rich marine biodiversity of the Watch Bank off the coast of Thiruvananthapuram, a breeding ground for over 200 varieties of fish and the largest coral reef of the Indian Ocean. The Watch Bank is home to more than 60 species of ornamental fish and other oceanic animals. Commercially important varieties such as squids, cuttlefish, carangids, tuna, anchovies and lobsters are abundant here. Despite the bank's status as a protected marine area, the state government decided to proceed with the project. Over 50,000 fishing workers are being affected by the Adani project in Vizhinjam, as it has destroyed breeding grounds, reduced fish catch, and caused loss of beaches and increased conflict with shipping vessels. The increased turbidity of water due to reclamation and dredging has started reducing the fish catch as it destroys fish spawning and habitat sites. Fishing workers claim the dredging work caused habitat loss for several aquatic organisms, especially mussels and lobsters.
Women also don't have an opportunity to go and buy their fish as they would normally buy on the beach. They don't have any more space to dry their fish. So all the livelihood area, that is for sorting, drying, has been lost completely, even to women.
15 of the 33 reefs located close to Vizhinjam have been heavily damaged, and 17 of them lost almost fully due to sand deposition from dredging. Many people excuse soil erosion as a natural phenomenon. According to them, the sea will deposit the sand and soil taken away in the same place after a particular time. Such debaters must visit Pulluvila on the southern part of the Vizhinjam project. The erased shores north of the Adani project are not getting back the lost sand and soil. Instead, they are getting deposited in Pulluvila and other beaches on the southern part of the project. This phenomenon of sea accretion itself points to the gravity of the situation. Experts have long pointed out that sea walls and breakwaters interrupt the accretion of sediments along the coast and thereby prevent the coast getting replenished.
So, the phenomenon is that during monsoon, the sea will take away the sand and the surf-ridden area will be widened. Sea will be much rough during that time. It will start during monsoon season, say June to September. By the end of the monsoon, say by October, whatever land taken away by the sea, it will put back and the fishermen get the normal longer beach for their fishing activities, such as for landing their craft, drying their net, keeping their accessories, fish marketing activities and so on.
During September 2021, Adani Enterprises secured a 50-year lease to operate, manage and develop the 89-year-old Thiruvananthapuram International Airport, following a Union Cabinet decision vehemently opposed by the Kerala government. If the coastal erosion continues unabated, coastal people say the sea will reach the airport. And Adani can integrate the seaport and airport there, perhaps for the first time in the world. However, opposing or critiquing the Adani project has been challenging, as it has created a favourable appeal in Kerala society looking for upward social mobility. Additionally, since the project was articulated in the language of solid developmental gains, opposing it often risked being labelled anti-national.
By the way, right now it is not only the fishing community that is being impacted. You can see even the famous airport, which will, in another 2 years, if left like this, is also going to be part of the ocean. Then the government will say, oh, let's reclaim the ocean. Let's make it another Singapore. See, this idea of Singapore has been bandied for long. So Singapore is also reclaiming ocean. Dubai is reclaiming ocean. So Kerala can also reclaim ocean. But this doesn't work in the long run. This is not sustainable.
Like Western Ghats Adivasis and other traditional dwellers, Thiruvananthapuram's coastal communities are also fast turning into both climate change victims and the victims of mindless corporate greed. False development notions of the society are pushing them to the brink. Pigeons can fly in the sky, but Alina's dreams have limitations. Pretty girls elsewhere can love pigeons, but not in the way Alina does. Alina is a symbol of submerging hopes, a symbol of hopes dashed or forcibly taken away. The stolen shorelines of Thiruvananthapuram hold a poignant story. A story of hopelessness. A story of betrayal. A story of neglecting the rights of the poor and working class. Their dreams have been manipulated. Now it seems they would not be allowed ashore. From Vizhinjam to Muthalapozhi, it is a continuing story. How corporate greed vitiates climate change.